Way too early Premier League predictions. Here we go. We will be going through the live standings prior to the start of the 26-27 season. I'll give you my honest takes and who will perhaps win the league, who will go down, and who I think might be some of the better teams and the worst performing teams. Starting with Bournemouth, obviously making a few acquisitions after players notably leaving or injured. Obviously injury to sustained to Eli Junior Groupie will be significant. He'll be out 3 to 4 months, give or take. Marco Rose will need his time to adjust to the Premier League, to the competitiveness, to the just all-round attack and sort of just more intense game of football. But I still think Bournemouth should finish in the top 10, knowing that he's quite experienced when it comes to dealing with the pressure and coping with the amount of football and the workload. Arsenal, second on the list. I think Arsenal are the favourites going into this campaign, knowing that they've won it, knowing that they've only gotten better their squad. The only notable departure, Leandro Trossard, who they've got Bruno Guimaraes, they've got a good attacker, a lot of potential there, even off the bench. I think this squad is deep. This squad has proven they can stick together when it matters most. So I think the only sort of difference maker now will be who can challenge them and if they will have a proper challenge. Aston Villa, I think Aston Villa are one of the teams that perhaps might be a bit weaker this season. Yes, they still have Unai Emery. Yes, they retained most of their squad, lost Yuri Tielemans. I'm not entirely sure who they re-signed, but I just have a gut feeling that they profited a lot from their fixtures. They profited from game scripts going their way, and Aston Villa just seemed kind of a flunky team. I don't think they'll get top 4. They should still get top 7. Brentford. Now Brentford obviously had a resurgence last season under Keith Andrews, quite contrary of what people were expecting. I still think Brentford struggle. Yes, they have Igor Thiago. Yes, they have Kevin Schade. Yes, they have Dango Ouattara. Yes, they have other players prominent that feature prominently. They can do well, but I still ask myself when it matters most, and I think Brentford, if I'm not mistaken, no, they did not. They just missed out on Europa. Otherwise, I was going to say they would have struggled. So I think Brentford will do well this season. I still think outside of top 10, I see other teams climbing up that ladder, improving from last year, and I think Brentford just won't have enough. Brighton on the other side, first time Europa, first time Conference League under Fabian Herzl, who by the way has a new haircut, which is interesting to see. They've made some important signings. Pascal Skrug, lost Jean-Paul Van Hecke, got in my opinion, perhaps the signing of the season, Vucevic from Tottenham or from Hamburg, depending on what perspective you want to look at it from, and also signed players that really should fit the model of, okay, we're going to press high, get the ball, retain possession, and build up play from the back. I think that's sort of the model that Fabian Herzl approaches and instills, and let's see how far they go. I'm quite confident they get top 10. Chelsea also, another team that has changed their coach this season. We'll see what kind of game script and model Xabi Alonso adapts, but I still think Chelsea can finish top 10, would be surprised if they don't, knowing that they don't have any international football, so there's just no reason why they shouldn't do very well this season. Coventry, I think, a team that deserve to be promoted, but they just don't have enough ultimately. They failed to make an impact when it comes to signings, quite a poor squad, and I don't see them really challenging other teams such as Fulham, Crystal Palace, Leeds, you name them. Speaking of Crystal Palace, here we go. Crystal Palace lost their coach. Ole Glasner gone. Lost the majority of their players. Just did a swap with Everton. Dwight McNeil for Brennan Johnson. Let's see where this goes. I think it's kind of an emotional roller coaster. Yes, they're the champions of the Conference League. That guarantees them another international spot. Let's see how they cope. I think it will struggle. Yes, they still have Kamada. Yes, they still have Mateta. Yes, they still have Munoz. Yes, they still have Strand Larsen. Here and there, potential side that is capable of an upset, but I would think on the whole they will struggle, especially with the amount of football. I see them finishing 12th or lower. Everton, another team that has really failed to make an impact. I don't know who is their coach. This is a team that has kind of been on the right side of luck the last 2 seasons, similar to Palace, similar to Coventry, could find themselves in a bad position further down the line, depending on how far we get into the season. 12th or lower. Fulham, I think, could be a candidate for going down. This might surprise people, but I think, yes, they just signed the Charles guy from Southampton, but still, what do Fulham have to offer? Lost Marco Silva. They've got the guy from Real Madrid. Too much going wrong here. Too risky for me. I can't see them doing well. I'd be surprised if they finish top 10. Hull will go down, no question. Ipswich will go down as well. Both teams kind of lacking on the reinforcement side of things. Both teams deserve to go up. They're Traditionsclubs, as we say in German, with a lot of tradition, with a lot of heart, a lot of energy. But I just can't see them really challenging for against other teams. Leeds are my sneaky team to finish in the top 11 or top 10. They made some notable signings. James Trafford, got Harry Wilson for free, improved their defence. I still think they're going to make a couple more signings. And yes, the sort of emphasis on to still maintain safe, not to be dragged into relegation battle, and just to ensure safety. This is a long-term process, as we understand from Daniel Farke and the board. They will approach him at the right time regarding contract proceedings, and then we'll go from there. Liverpool, difficult. No new coach, heavy metal football, just like people want it at Anfield. Jurgen Klopp type style. Liverpool have made a few signings from the Uruguay international centre-back, because their centre-back and just generally defensive department is quite weak. Yes, they have squandered 2 leads in pre-season games against Leeds United and Monaco, so we'll see how that happens. In my opinion, pre-season games are nonetheless not very indicative of what will happen in the season. Overrated, blown out of proportion. Yes, they're important to kind of get an understanding of how someone might play, give sort of glimpses into, okay, this is what it might look like going back with the ball. This is how players can play. What position can they play? There's a lot of experimenting, but as a whole, I'm not very convinced that they're indicative as to how the season will go. Liverpool should still get top 4. Man City, in my opinion, will be Arsenal's biggest challengers. Yes, they like Guardiola, but as a whole, if they can retain Rodri, that will be huge. So paramount importance that people don't understand. Let's see what happens. I've yet to check Fabrizio Romano, what he said in that regard, but I'd be surprised if Man City don't splurge on a few more players should it come to Rodri's departure. Let's see. Otherwise, second. I'd be surprised if they win. Man United. Now, Man United going into this season, I was thinking quite optimistic. Now, after what I've seen display, it's been quite poor all around. Yes, they still are awaiting the return of quite a few players who've been, Cunha, Šeško, quite a few players. We get all of that. Nonetheless, can I see Man United finish challenging for the title? No. Will they make top 4? Should do. Newcastle recently changed their coach. Eddie Howe departing. Contract was not continued, and Matthias Jaissl, the 4th German coach to take charge of a Premier League team, lost Bruno Guimaraes, lost Sandro Tonali, sort of the energy, the people that run their midfield, pull the strings for this team. Difficult. I mean, I said if there's one team that I would hate to return to after this international break, after this World Cup, it would be Newcastle, knowing the turmoil they're going through. Yes, they're backed by seriously, ridiculously rich owners, but that doesn't guarantee success as a whole. You still have to forge and create a competitive team. So let's see. I'm still not entirely convinced. Nottingham Forest. Difficult situation. They lost Elliot Anderson. It's going to be interesting to see how they cope with his loss. If they will sign players of his personality, of his caliber, and can they adjust to that loss. Could also be a team that does quite well, because there's a lot of pressure on other teams to succeed. Vice versa, it could also happen that they find themselves in a relegation battle quite soon. Sunderland Spurs, pretty straightforward. I think these teams will be alright. Yes, Sunderland have the added pressure of Europa League football. Granit Xhaka stayed, which is immense. We cannot underestimate his captaincy value, what he brings from leadership and experience perspective. We get all of that. And Régis Le Bris, I trust in him. He's a competent manager. He's showed what he can do with a limited budget and with a limited squad. I think Sunderland will be okay. Scrape, maybe if it's not top 10, that's okay. This is their first season playing international. It's a huge leap from where they started. So I think they'll be okay. Spurs, for me, yes, they made the signings. They, in my opinion, probably been the most active in the transfer market. We'll see what happens. Roberto De Zerbi, never underestimate him, but be surprised if they finish top 10. Should be 11th, maybe 10. You never know. So that's my Premier League predictions. Let me know what you think in the comments.